moms in their 40s and 50s, they've been caring for others so long, it's very easy for them to lose themselves. And then when you work with them, they're like, oh, I remember her.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I interview thoughtful, inspiring, and influential guests who are changing the way we think about what is possible in our lives, especially as we age. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist and fellow Zestful Ager. And you know that I love to hear from my listeners, so leave me a comment on zestfulaging.com. Our music is courtesy of Judy Banker, who was a guest on Zestful Aging. Her CD Buffalo Motel is out, and you can find out more about her on judybanker.com. Here's a special episode for Mother's Day. Imagine working with your daughter in the fashion business and coming from different generations, obviously, living in different states. One is Southern and the other is New York City. My conversation with mom Alison and daughter Delia made me think about the importance of different perspectives and how lucky these two are to blend their different experiences into a successful and really thoughtful business. They think a lot about what clothes and fashion really mean to us, and I so appreciated that. Well, as usual, I've got my little loyal Jack Russell Sparky right by my side, so let's begin. Before I introduce our guests today, I do want to really acknowledge that we are in the middle of the pandemic. We want to be very sensitive to the fact that people are extremely worried all around the world. And, you know, we're going to talk about some subjects that are not related to health and well-being, and hopefully it'll offer you a bit of a distraction to all of the bad news. But we just want to be really mindful and sensitive that people are really struggling. So we're putting that out there, and we are really all hoping everybody is doing well today, as well as can be expected. So we do have a lovely interview for you today. We're going to be speaking with Alison Bruhn and Delia Folk, who are the mother and daughter team behind The Style That Binds Us. The Style That Binds Us is a lifestyle brand and a community for women who want to live a stylish and fearless life. Alison's a national wardrobe consultant and a stylist, and Delia consults with emerging brands. Delia started her career interning at Versace and working on the buying team at Barneys New York for 4 years before going full-time with The Style That Binds Us. Ladies, thank you for being here, and I'm just delighted to have you here today.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be with you.
Excellent, excellent. So let's start with, maybe it's a really simple question, but I guess I want to know what the experts think when they think of style. What does it really actually even mean for somebody to have style?
Well, I think that style is a big word with a lot of connotations and a lot of pressure behind it. So it really depends on you and how you like to express yourself. People have been adorning themselves since, before the time of Cleopatra. It's really a form of self-expression, and the different clothes that you wear can create different moods. For example, if you have something difficult that you're having to address, clothes can serve as a form of armor. Or right now, or in the times of trouble, like during coronavirus, when there's so much uncertainty and fear actually going around, the clothes that you wear, it's one thing to not get out of bed because you're just being lazy, but also if you are in a comfortable sweater, maybe it's a cardigan that you've had a long time, rather than thinking that you can't cope, it's like comfort food. It's like it envelops you with some a feel almost like of someone giving you a big hug.
Oh, wow. So I think what you're saying is it not just an article or material, that there's meaning behind it. It's like almost, I think about this isn't a perfect metaphor, but like a billboard of saying, this is who I am, and this is
That's right.
like an outward expression of what I want you to know about me. Is that right?
Yes, and also how you want others to feel around you. For example, with you and your, as a psychotherapist, is that the right term?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so someone comes into your office and you're dressed in a business suit and your hair is very severe and almost like the school principal. Then when the people come to you, they're going to be either terrified or upset. Like you said to us earlier, you told us that you love to knit and you wear a lot of the pieces that you've knitted. So that's the perfect thing to wear to make people feel that they're in a safe place. I mean, you couldn't pick a better look for yourself, and you didn't do it purposefully for that reason. You did it because it brings you joy and it reflects to the people that are around you. And I always tell people that when they're getting dressed, think about the day you're about to have. If you do have to go have a difficult situation or a discussion with someone, or if you want to be seen as an expert in your field, you do wear the suit or a blazer, clothes with some sharp angles. If you want to be more approachable, you're going to wear...
Or spikes.
Right. You're going to wear something, more soft and welcoming. If you want to be more sexy, obviously you're going to wear silks and, cashmere.
I
and
see.
Yeah, so it's all about... expressing ourselves, but also thinking in terms of how is the person I'm going to be with today going to feel when they're around me.
That is so fascinating. Delia, do you have anything to say about that? Is that how you look at it?
Yes, definitely. I think that style, it is your nonverbal communication to the world of who you are that day. And you, with Mom, when people work with her, with the wardrobe consulting, you don't have to just have one style. So we don't have to put ourselves in a box and say okay, I am all boho, which is a nice way to give someone permission. Like some days I want to be rocker chick and go out and wear my leather jacket and jeans and pumps. And other days if I'm going out to a nice gala, then you're in black tie and you want to be a little bit sexier. So it's about your mood for the day, and I think that style is truly about confidence. So when I put on an outfit that I am literally obsessed with, I carry myself in a very different way, and I'm practically skipping down the street, and people look at you and they notice when someone walks into a room and they're very confident, they're dressed well, and they have a smile on their face. I think that is something that it kind of sets the tone for the interactions you're about to have.
I love this conversation because what I'm thinking about, and you're going to have to forgive me because I can't take my therapist hat off, but what happens, and I don't know if Alison has more to say about this than Delia because of the age difference, but what happens when you don't know who you are anymore? Or maybe you're not a rocker chick and that would look silly on you, but you're not really sure what you're about. I remember in college thinking, I went to kind of a hippie-ish school, and everybody was wearing particular clothes, and that I think that we were trying to express we're all in the same, we see the struggle, we're kind of environmental, we want to be this way. But I remember thinking earth tones, that's what I want, earth tones. And I have really dark hair, and earth tones do not look really great on me. So how do you navigate also the style, right, which is picked for, the colors are picked for us? How do you navigate what's me and what's fashion, and oh, by the way, I'm not even sure who I am at middle age anymore. That's a huge question.
Well, it is a huge question. My brain is going in so many different directions because, one side of me says, you're at the school where everybody's doing the hippie thing and you have that inside of you, but that look on you might come across as sloppy or,
or drab.
Exactly. Then you find tie-dye. You find a different way to express yourself along those same lines that makes you feel good. And the other thing too, I guess, one of the things about as we age and the rocker chick question, you can still be a rocker chick. You can be a rocker chick, but you have to do it in a way that you're comfortable. You can still wear the leather jacket. Maybe you're not going to wear the ripped jeans and the those biker boots or something. But just putting on a leather jacket, even in a like a blanc, an off-white color, a softer color than the black heavy metal look. And you feel cool because you have on a leather jacket and it feels great against your body, but you're not, you don't feel like you're in a costume. And the other question about aging, it's super confusing these days because nobody knows what 40 looks like. Nobody knows what 50 is supposed to look like. But the great thing that Delia and I both believe wholeheartedly is that, back to that style question, there are no rules. And so just like when people do, they'll have a modern house and they put antiques in it, or they mix things up, or the shabby chic and all these different
eclectic,
things. You can have an eclectic style, and because we're sort of pioneers in that we're never going to look exactly like our mothers did, we can make the rules ourselves. So
I love that.
And in other areas of your life, as you get older, you kind of think, oh boy, those things that used to really bother me, it just doesn't bother me anymore. I'm not so insecure as I was when I was in my teens or 20s. It's like people might stare at me, but I don't really care. Where we used to be like, people might be staring at me.
That's the gift of aging, right?
Exactly. And
so
it's the same thing with
what you're
clothes.
both saying, if I'm understanding you right, and this is getting into, my territory here, is that you're really saying you have to know yourself so you can choose things that help express who you are. Am I getting that?
Yes, and don't be hard on yourself. Don't worry so much about what will people think, because as we know, this comes with age too. Nobody's really thinking about you. Everybody's thinking about themselves anyway. So if I could give people a gift, it would be like, people just aren't really that interested. I mean, they're interested in you as a person, but they're not that concerned. They might give you a glance and be like, well, that's an odd shirt. But they're not going to change their opinion of you. And if it makes you feel good, wear it. I know you don't want to be like, there's certainly ways that this could be taken, misconstrued. But, you don't want to put on things that you really might look totally foolish in, but experiment, have fun with all of this, and let this be one part of your life that makes you happy. There's no stress.
I love that. So there are no rules to experiment and to find some joy. Okay.
People aren't really going to judge you that harshly, even if you do put on something that maybe it's not your best look. It's not the end of the world,
Is that true for you, Delia? As a younger woman, do you feel more pressure than your mom feels to look a certain way, especially living in the city
and being in fashion?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't, but I probably think that I am an anomaly in that. But I don't want people to. I don't think that you have to know yourself to get dressed, because I think that's a lot of pressure, and I think that's something that it takes a long time to develop, and I think throughout your life you lose yourself and you find yourself again, and you also change. So I don't want someone to feel like this conversation is that you have to know yourself in order to get dressed. It really is about what is the schedule for the day, and what is the outfit you need to put on to feel your best self and feel the most confident. And we talk about like moms in their 40s and 50s, they've been caring for others so long, it's very easy for them to lose themselves. And then when you work with them, they're like, oh, I remember her. You didn't talk about that.
Yeah, it is really such a horrifying thing to me when it happens, and also conversely, one of the biggest joys of my career when I go in, when I'm working with younger women, like Delia said, a lot of them are, what will people think, or I'm not sure, what other people will be wearing. I have to make sure that I'm wearing the same type thing they're wearing. They don't have that kind of self-confidence yet, or maybe haven't figured out, like Delia said, who exactly they are, and they're nervous about that. But then as women in particular age, and they do become moms and wives and adult children and friends who have friends who are in crisis and other things like that along the way, and it's certainly been, instilled in us, and it's a very hard thing to break, but I hope we're in the process of breaking this, that to be a good woman in society, you have to forget yourself entirely. And therefore, by the time I get to them, they are lost. They feel invisible.
Oh, wow.
They are overwhelmed. They are worn out. They do not know who they are anymore. I had a woman once who she was a lawyer, and she hadn't practiced in a while. She's raised her family, and she's had a lot going on in her family and through the years, and has had to be there for a lot of people. And she said to me, I stood up in court. I was really good at what I did. And somewhere along the way, I lost that. I lost that confidence. And now I question everything about myself and any ideas that I might have. And so that is heartbreaking. Feeling invisible, or even more, just feeling overwhelmed, like, where did I go? I'm kind of lost. So in the process of clearing out a closet, updating your look, starting to feel better about the way you look on the outside, it's like this magical thing that in the process you start to remember yourself and stand up taller and go, nobody's going to mess with me. I remember who I am, and baby, I am back.
I'm back. I love that.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm also curious, and I'm sure you've talked about this before, but how is it that you decided to come together as a business, a mother and daughter team? Tell us the story about that.
Delia, you want to tell that?
No, Phoebe, you take it.
Well, so let's see. I was in Birmingham, and I started my career as an empty nester. I started my business at age 50. I went to school at FIT in New York, became an image consultant. And in the meantime, Delia was in New York at Barneys working on the buying team. So she got to meet all these interesting designers and the people behind a lot of brands. And she would call me and say, we met with this brand today. I'm not sure if Barneys is going to pick them up or not, but I think your clients would really like the brand. So the next time you come to New York, you need to meet with them. And in that way, we started working together from the beginning, pretty much, because then I would be able to introduce people to new brands, and that was exciting to them. And then they wanted more brands, and it was helping the brands. And so that was a very exciting thing. And then we started blogs. Delia was writing about navigating the ins and outs of getting into the fashion industry, because she had had so many people reaching out saying, how in the world did you get this job, blah, blah, blah. And she didn't have a lot of free time. So this way she could just send them the blog. And then I was writing blog posts about, am I too old to wear a moto jacket, a leather jacket? And then we started thinking this would be really taking it to the next level, to actually create videos about how to wear a leather jacket. And if we brought the two of us together, where this is how Delia wears it at age 28 and this is how Alison wears it at age 57, We would have some different style aesthetics, and taking it to the next level, we would say, and where I would wear this look is to a blank. And then
I see.
That way, a lot of different women could look and say, okay, I have these things in my closet. I think I like that look. I can try that out. And we could be a source of discovery. And so it sort of all came together organically. And then we had the blogs and we had the videos, and then eventually we decided we'd love to do the podcast. We have the podcast. And then people started asking us to have events. And that brings mothers and daughters together and friends and cousins. And so it's all just becoming this wonderful community of women supporting women and having fun with fashion and building important friendships. You know, we're transforming lives. We really want to be this place of safety and inclusivity for women of all sizes, shapes, financial situations, educational situations.
I see.
We're all here together to lift each other up.
So it really transcends, like, you should wear this color if you're a brunette. Yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of levels. What about you, Delia? What has it been like for you to be on the younger end of this business?
Oh, it's been nice. I'm glad that I worked in a corporate office, so that a lot of people nowadays come right out of college. Maybe they started their blog and then they are full-time doing that. But I'm very glad that I got that experience, because Mom was a homemaker she was first a teacher and then a homemaker, and then started this styling business. So then I got the corporate aspect, so I understand emails and meetings and how all of that works, because when I interned at Versace, I literally knew nothing. I didn't even know what CC on an email meant, that anytime I sent an email, I needed to CC my boss and all of those things. So working with Mom has been great versus corporate, because, for example, I decided to leave Barneys because my dream was to go to Fashion Month. So I left and we did New York, London, Milan, and Paris Fashion Week, which is insane, and I still cannot believe that we got to do that. But, like, for example, I get migraines. So if I had been with the Barneys team in London and I had a migraine versus your mom is there, obviously she can take care of you.
It's a different kind of treatment, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. And we get to go to all the same we get to pick our restaurants. It's not like I am having to do what other people want to do and maybe missing out on things. So that part is fabulous, because with a career, my problem was I didn't want to just be a buyer. I wanted to work in technology, and I wanted to be an editor, and I wanted to do all the things. Maybe that's a con or a personality flaw or a millennial thing, but that's just what it was. And so then with this company, we do all of those things. So the only thing that's funny is the technology part, and frustrations with that I know is hard on both of us, because I want to be patient. Neither of us want to be wasting time, but that is such a huge part of the business, especially since we live apart. So
Right. I see. Okay.
Yes, it has been really nice, and especially that we get to build something together and spend so much quality time. It's a great excuse for us to hang out. We've always had the same interests. And in the beginning with the blogs, we could ask each other, hey, I have this question. The other person could give their opinion, but it wasn't their company. So now that we're in this together, it's nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off, to make the decisions with, all of that.
You're doing an intergenerational company on your own. Yeah, that's beautiful. Hello, Zesties. I want to tell you about one of my all-time favorite exercise and stress reduction tools, which I am really relying on during this quarantine. But I've sung its praises for years. The benefits are seemingly endless. It's great for toning and strengthening muscles. It improves your lymph system, your metabolism. It helps with joint pain and balance. And it's even used by NASA astronauts because because it's such an efficient way to exercise. And if you're older or you're worried about your balance, you can order a stabilizer bar to hang on to. I'm talking about my Needak Rebounder mini trampoline. I put on my music and I have my own dance party. Because for me, exercise needs to be fun and invigorating. Otherwise, I don't want to do it. Now is not the time for the philosophy of no pain, no gain, because we're in enough pain. This is a way to feel good and energized and have fun. It really does help mood as well. And I like that Needak is made in the USA and it is really solid. I've had mine for 15 years and it's still in great shape. The Needak Rebounder will help us get through this quarantine in better shape mentally and physically. And there's also a model that folds up if space is an issue. One of my clients puts it on her driveway and uses it while she's watching her kids during the quarantine. Anyway, I can't recommend Needak Rebounders enough. They are a worthwhile investment in your health and overall well-being, especially now. If you are interested in a mini trampoline, please don't buy a cheap one. Those can be actually dangerous, and it is really worth investing in a good quality one. And right now, if you use the coupon code just for Zestful Aging listeners, the code is Zestful, they are going to include a free cover for you. So go to Needak.com. It's NEEDAK.com. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at zestfulaging.com. I really am their biggest fan. I'm curious what it was like to work at Versace. Can you describe what your day was like?
Oh my God, it was incredible. So I was living in the dorms on Washington Square Park, literally on the park. Like, this is dream life. I did not know what I had. And so I would get up and take the subway, take the E train from West 4th to 53rd Street and get off the subway. And then right there it was at the corporate office. One of them, there was one in Columbus Circle that was more like HR marketing, but where the wholesale team sat was right above the store. So I would get to go in the employee entrance, and I had made friends with the security guards. They were so sweet and everything. And so my first day, the collection, the Spring Summer 14 collection had just arrived from Milan. And when I started, unfortunately, I had just missed like Donatella and the whole Italian team being there. So my first day was unpacking the boxes, setting up the showroom, steaming all the clothes. So definitely not glamorous, but I was very happy to be there. So in market, basically what happens is the full collection arrives from Milan, and then our role was that we were meeting, so the buyers from specialty stores and big retail stores would come in and choose their edit. And so my day, since it was that summer and we were in market, revolved all around when was the next appointment, so were we preparing for an appointment, and then you're having the appointment. So I was back in the intern room, and I was in men's, and you know, Versace is all about sexy and all of that. So I got to be with the very handsome Brazilian male models, dressing them in this teeny little room. And I had a boyfriend, so it was nothing like that, but it was just, you know, nice to appreciate that. But they were that part was hysterical, because I'm like, can you pick up your leg? Are you kidding me right now? Like, can you help me?
And you're pinning, right? You're doing pins?
Yes, like just like putting the clothes on them so that they go out and they walk so that the buyers can see it on a human.
Oh,
and then they come back. You know, it was this mad rush. And yes, so that was my day. And then I would come home, and I had a roommate who was so sweet from Arizona, and we would sit outside in the park and have like Greek yogurt and mango. It was hysterical. And just like sit in the park being like, oh my God, this is it was the most perfect summer. I was wonderful.
Oh, wow. That sounds lovely. It
Yeah.
sounds really...
But she was so funny. She said they're yelling all the time. Not in a mean way, but they're a lot of Italians, so they're all yelling at each other.
Oh, I
and
see.
interrupting each other. They're all very excited about everything all the time.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've learned through interviewing Adam Minter, who is somebody who follows textiles, thrift, recycling, is that a lot of the fabrics are less, how shall I say it? The quality has dropped throughout the fashion world. And I'm wondering if you're seeing that in terms of the brands that you're working with. Are you seeing the quality change over the years as the companies try to make less expensive garments?
Maybe you can talk about
Well, we would love for them to be able to make less expensive garments because there's so few people that can afford true designer pieces. The smaller designers, that's why they're in it, is for the beautiful fabrics and the design. So they can't make much money, but they are definitely still very much
about the quality.
About the fabrics and the qualities. And then the ones that maybe that person is talking about are from the big...
Yes,
the big,
the H&M and some of the mass-produced.
Yeah, that's not good quality to begin with. But even the bigger brands that are owned by these big conglomerates that are all about marketing, their quality,
about profits.
Yes, their quality has gone down for the same. The prices have stayed the same, and they've cut the quality. So that's. And then these smaller designers can't keep up with them. So, there's a lot of things that are unfair in the fashion industry, just like in all industries these days.
You've talked about how important it is for you to have a company that is built on inclusivity and body diversity. How do you do that in a world that is still, it's gotten better, but it's still about your body needs to look like this and not like that?
Well, first of all, being two female founders, we're already, at a disadvantage just right there. But, and second of all, for me at my age, that is a big question. Whenever we meet with designers, with brands, it can be beauty products, and more importantly, just as importantly, ready-to-wear designs. I'm always like, well, where are the clothes for people my age? Where are the clothes where the arms are covered up? Where are the clothes that aren't mini skirts? Where are the clothes?
Right.
Where are...
For the regular people.
Where are the regular people? The outstanding regular people. We're fabulous. We're just not 18 and, 6'5" and 100 pounds or something.
That's
Where are the clothes for... people that have the hourglass figure, which is, of course, what is traditionally known as the most desirable female figure anyway, to be curvy and everything else. And where are those sizes, especially in the stores? And half the time it's like, well, they're in the back. We have them, they're just in the back. Well, I need you to bring them out. Well, they sold out. Yeah, because you didn't buy enough of them. We're constantly having these discussions. And finally, like you said, there is an improvement, but I kind of see, Delia used to always say to me, talk about aging. And I would say, I don't want to talk about aging. I don't want to age. I'm not thrilled about any of this, that my body is changing so much and everything. And then finally I realized, you know what? Embrace it. Anything I can do to help other women, because, in so many ways we're more relevant than we ever have been. And that's when I really did start talking to brands and say, we want to come meet with you in LA. And one of the main things I want to talk about is all of these fabulous skincare products that you're selling people for $400, and you're putting people out there saying, it's a magic balm. It works fabulous on my skin. Well, they're 30. Years old.
Ah, I see.
And so that, I'm not going to sell those products, tell my people to buy those products, because our skin is very different when, at age 50 or whatever. So I want to see the products that work for my age group. Where is that eye cream that's really helpful? And we talked to dermatologists. We talked to a dermatologist about what should I be doing to my skin at age 50. And then we talked to a dermatologist about what do girls in their 18, 19, the teens to the 20s to the early 30s need to be doing before they start making dermatology appointments, because nothing's really going wrong yet. What do they need to be doing to take care of their skin? And
to maintain.
Sunscreen is the number one answer. And to be safe, it's not even just, it's also about skin cancer and, spots on your skin, just moles and, all of that is just getting information out to people. And certainly what I do for a living, it's the ABCs, accentuate, balance, and camouflage. And so when I meet with a woman and she says, I don't love my thighs, they're a part of my body that I'm not thrilled about. Well, your thighs, normally what I discover is I wasn't even paying attention to their thighs, but I hear them say that. I know they feel it. And so we talk about ways that you can wear something different on the top that brings attention to your face and other parts of your body. And this style pant is the most flattering for your body type and things like that. If, things that just, make them feel beautiful. And that's what it's really all about. And size, age, color of your skin, texture of your hair, anything, that isn't just that one vision of what beauty is supposed to be. It's time now to really say, this is who I am, and I'm fabulous. And I feel like the conversation is coming up more and more. Skincare, foundations with many more shades, and I don't even like the word plus size, but models that have more realistic shapes and sizes, and brands that are especially designers. One of the things was they weren't taught to make sample size. They didn't know how to make larger sizes. They were taught to cut patterns for a certain sample size because it's less expensive, because it was less fabric.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So now,
never thought of that.
I hadn't either till they started explaining that to me. So now they're not saying, oh, we carry plus sizes too. They're saying we carry from 00 to size 22, whatever it is. They are trying their best. They really are. For the most part, designers are very, kind, artistic, creative people that, want people to wear their clothes and feel special. So they try to do what they can with the money they've got.
I see. I hear this kind of navigating and appreciating what the designers have to offer, the beautiful fabrics and how they can help us express ourselves, but also to take some of this beauty advice with a grain of salt, knowing that this is about profit. So how do you kind of take the good and leave the bad?
Well, it is about profit, but it is about profit. So they're coming to me saying, what do your women want? Or they're asking Delia, what would be a piece that we could make that would be more affordable, and what would that price point be? Because, when you're very niche like that and you're super expensive, that cuts into your profitability. And the same thing with your skincare. If you're only doing skincare products for 28-year-olds, you're missing a whole market, and you're missing a market full of people that have more money than they had when they were 20.
That's what's been talked a lot about, the 50 plus and the middle age and over, is that many companies are really missing this opportunity. They're just really late in the game. And I've heard this and seen this in different areas where there's a lot of people making decisions about big purchases, homes, they're older women, homes, cars, major purchases, and people are not seeing them as a viable audience.
That's right. And the one thing that they forget is they're going to age too.
Aha.
So, that's one thing too about all the different inclusivity areas. The one thing that we all are, if we're lucky enough, going to experience is getting older. We might not ever be a petite, like really short and really tiny. We might not ever be 5'10". We might not ever be Asian or Caucasian or, whatever it is. But if we're lucky, we're all going to age.
That's a great point. So let me ask Delia, where do we start? Most of the people who are listening to us are women. They're around middle age, some younger, some older, some what we call postmenopausal, and now they may be quarantined. They may have more time. How do you start discovering what your style is?
That's a question for BB.
Well, that is really just one way that you can do it that is actually fun, especially when you have extra time, is to sit down and look through magazines and tear things out, make a mood board. And also, it doesn't have to be fashion. It can be a gardening magazine. It can be a knitting magazine. It can be an interior design. It could even be cooking, or whatever, music. It doesn't really matter. But when you put all those photos together, if you like to do Pinterest, you can do it that way. I'm not so great at Pinterest, but I know it's a great resource. But create a visual board of things that resonated with you, and then just look at it and sit there and think, what is this? What am I seeing? What are the patterns? Are you picking very traditional things? Are you picking things that are, like you seem to be interested in history? Are you picking bright colors? Are you picking scenes of nature? Are you
patterns? So this is maybe a really hard question, but how does one know what resonates? If you know it, and
that's it.
And okay,
that's it. It's like, maybe,
what does it feel like for you when something resonates?
Well, I've always said, if you think you might have a drinking problem, you have a drinking problem. If you think you might be overweight, you're overweight. But in terms of this, if you think you like that but you're not sure, pass it by. It has to be that thing that you're just like, that's it. You just have this. It just clicks. You have like a physical reaction where it makes you so happy. And then you just rip that page out and stick it on the mood board.
You just know at a deeper level. It's not a thought process.
Right. And it's like, think about the music that you like. Like for me, I don't like sad music. I don't like music that has sad lyrics. It just, some people love that. Maybe I'm not brave enough, but it just makes me very sad. And I just I love uplifting music. I love happy tunes.
Especially now.
Right. And some people love sad movies. They love sad music. That's never been, my thing personally. But think about the music that you like. If you like classical music, how that makes you feel. And also, like Delia said, you might love classical music and, stately homes in England, but you also might like super modern houses in design and minimalist clothing. So you're thinking, well, those don't go together at all. But that doesn't matter. Those are the different sides of you.
I see. You know what, I've heard it described, and I don't know if this matches for you and Delia, but it feels like coming home.
Yes, certainly. Absolutely.
So so the idea of we're in quarantine, you get a stack of magazines, and hopefully you have some around, or you do Pinterest, and you start putting things on that just feel good.
Yes.
Feel right, fit you. And then let's just say you have this board, and I bet it doesn't have to be a cork board. It could be whatever, cardboard. It could be part of the Amazon box that's in the recycling. So you do that, and then so you look at it and you say you see patterns. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, what are the colors? What are you looking at? Things that are very busy, very embellished, very dramatic, very elegant? Are you looking for things that, that seem to be calming? Do you look at things that are very creative, or are they more simple things like a waterfall? All of these kinds of things, and then walk away and then come back later and you'll notice something else, and just write down the words that you see. I seem to keep coming back to, and in the fashion part, let's say it is the rocker chick, and you're like, well, I'm 65 years old. Why do I keep putting pictures of women riding on a motorcycle with mirrored sunglasses on there? Obviously, that's that girl inside of me that is like, I am still in here. And you have to find a way to express me. And it might just be a black T-shirt or, like we said, find a way. And what I do, too, when I work with women, I have them do something similar to this, where they tear out they either tear it out of the makeup pictures board for me. 3 things that they would never wear. 3 things they would wear if they dared. And then 3 things that they feel passionate about. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with fashion unless that's one of your passions. And then we go through. And when I see those 9 pictures, the ones that make the most sense to me are the things they're passionate about. Because then I know what type lifestyle they probably have. I know what type clothing they would probably be interested in, and then I pull that into this thing about what I'd wear if I dared.
So the clues. You're looking for clues.
And if it is the girl on the motorcycle, it's like, this woman has been taught that she has to be seen and not heard. She has to be a mother. She has to look a certain way. But she wants to still be that girl. She wants to be a little sexy. She wants to be bold, but she doesn't want the people around her to think she's gone crazy. So how can I lean her into that, where it brings back that sense of, I am cool. I've got it going on. She doesn't have to scream it out, but how to bring that back into her life.
Wow. I love that you're using pictures, because sometimes words don't do it, right? It has to go beyond words, or, more primitive than words, because words can trick us and thinking can trick us. But just that impulse
and
to
limit
say,
us.
Yeah. That's gorgeous. That's what I want to put on my board. It's like going underneath all of the thoughts of what I should look like, what I should be like, what colors I should wear, how big my earrings should be, all of that.
And the weird thing too is, when you start to do this, you're going to think, I don't want my family to know I'm doing this. This is silly. This is like something a child would do. And so we have not been given, unless we are an artist and that's how we make our money, we haven't given ourselves permission to just say, I'm just playing right now. I'm just having fun doing a little art project for myself. And invariably, the people around you will be like, oh, well, I want to do that too. It can even be a family thing in the end. But what happens too when these women do this with me as my clients, they always say, I had forgotten that I used to love to garden. I had forgotten when I was in college, I loved this band. I had forgotten, as they are given permission to spend some time reconnecting with things that do give them that physical reaction, it's a happy, joyful time for them.
Connecting to their true self.
Yeah. So there's a lot of psychology.
I can hear that. It sounds so fun. And what a time now to say, listen, I've already, vacuumed and tidied up and paid my bills and, done what I need to do, work remotely if you're fortunate to do that. And now's the time to say, listen, I need a little levity and a little joy here. And in upstate New York, the sun has really not appeared yet, because our winters are 6 months long. So, there's a sense of like, where am I going to find my joy? And there's lots of stuff you can do, but I love this self-discovery that you're describing.
Exactly. And that's why yesterday, we put out a video. I show people how to go in and organize their closets in easy ways.
Perfect.
And this is an example of when Delia and I work together, and I call her and say, okay, because since we're not together, I'm like, okay, what the thing that sabotages everybody when they work in their closets is that by the time they get the piles, by the time they get the pile of alterations clothes and the pile of donate clothes and the pile of consign clothes, they're exhausted. So then they say, I'm done. And then those piles, all they do is create more mess and more guilt as they sit there in the corner. People are like, I know I should be taking that to get altered, but they're too tired and they're ready to move on to something else. And
they can't do it now.
No,
they can't go to the
there
tailor.
Are ways to do it, and that's where I got Delia to investigate that, and she has information. You can see the video at the Style That Binds Us on the Style That Binds Us YouTube channel, or you can go find it through our website. You can read the blog, and the video is attached to it. And then Delia has ways that you can handle those piles. The thing about alterations is before you start the process, you need to have the name of someone that does alterations. And if you don't yet, reach out to friends in your area and say, who does your alterations? And then go ahead and know that is the one pile that you probably won't be able to take care of right now. Fold it neatly. But at the very first chance, get that done.
Yep.
Because whenever I go to a client's house, I'm like, okay, where are the alterations? When we're ready to put together the outfits, they're like, oh, I never got around to that. You have to do that. So that is the pile, the only pile that is going to have to stay around a while. So it needs to go a little bit out of the way. But, you just have to do it as soon
and
as
the donations, our places are closed here, and in New York, we are, certainly being asked to stay in. So, I'm getting my regular donations going, but they cannot be dropped off until things settle down.
Well, Delia has some suggestions about that.
Oh, good. Delia, let's hear from you.
Sure. So I think before you decide to do the closet edit, there is a company called Thread Up, and you can order a bag to be sent to your apartment. So it comes so that by the time you do the closet edit, the things that are going to Thread Up, literally all you have to do is put it in the bag, and it depends where you live. If you live in the city, you either UPS, you have a doorman or something, they come to your apartment every day, so they can just pick it up. I think it might be USPS. And then, or you'd have to take it to the place or wait until this is over, which would be unfortunate for it to sit there. But then the Real is now doing virtual appointments, so that would be great, and I'm sure that they'll send you some sort of a shipping label situation.
Yeah.
Say that again, Delia. I don't know that one. The Real? Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Real. And then the last thing is, I know that like Goodwill is probably closed right now, but
yes,
maybe like homeless shelters or domestic abuse situations, those are definitely not closed. And those women leave with nothing. So that would be a great place to call, investigate your local homeless shelters, domestic abuse for women. That would be perfect.
They might do like a curbside pickup. You could leave it outside and they would come get it.
Oh, that's excellent. What about Poshmark, Delia? Do you use them?
So Poshmark, I feel like, is definitely for younger people. What happens on there is you basically take a picture of the item, you say what it is, how much it cost originally, which can be hard to remember, and then you put a price, an asking price, that then it's uploaded. It's kind of like this peer-to-peer purchasing situation.
I see.
Then someone will come back to you, and they will oftentimes, instead of just like buying the price that you put it for, they will suggest another price. Okay, well, I offer to buy it at this lower price. And then you can decide whether you want to do that or not. And I think they do make it easy to ship back and forth. But that is something, it can be months later when somebody does go ahead and make that offer. So I do personally feel like the Real or Thread Up or donating it is better because it's more immediate.
I see. Those are great examples. And I love that as you're going through your closet, instead of saying, oh man, the price tag's still on there, or I bought this and I never wore it and it was expensive, to think that it's going to go to somebody else who might be able to enjoy it. And, I mean, that really makes it a different process than, oh, look at me wasting money and wasting resources. So it's more like it's turning into a gift. So these are all such lovely things, and I think really come at a great time when we're all realizing that, as Andrew Cuomo keeps saying, we have not reached the apex yet, and we're all afraid to look at the news when we get up. I love the idea of having a visual board, and even knowing at this point everything might be like a big blankie and slippers and a fireplace, because that's what we're all craving. The idea of like, how do we get to know ourselves, even through this crisis, if we have the privilege to be able to focus on this, and not, again, if we're going to be able to pay our rent, which I just want to really point that out again. So,
absolutely. But also, in keeping with that, if you first do the mood board, because then when you look in your closet and you're trying to make decisions, you can realize, well, no wonder I never wore this. It has nothing. See. It doesn't, it's not me.
You know what? I have do a trick with myself, and I say, if this didn't have an Eileen Fisher label, would you still want it?
Right.
And I think, well, maybe not.
That's
it's sort of,
it's
but
sort
then
you
frumpy.
Picture that woman who is going to apply for a job, and she's wearing your Eileen Fisher dress, and she gets the job, and what the story that dress can tell. But also the fact that you can make some money. The Real is a great store, but they are very strict about the brands that they will take. They will send you sign up online, or you can even message us, and we can sign you up we can get you signed up with an account through a stylist, and then they'll send you an email about, these are all the brands that we take. And but then, like what Delia was saying, you sign up for a virtual session, and you'll be on the computer with an actual person from the Real, and you'll hold up your item, and they'll look it over, and they'll say, we'll
so
take that,
funny.
or we won't take that. The things they won't take, you send a thread up. And so between those two things, you'll start getting checks that'll go straight into your bank account. So it's a little bit money back.
I love it. And
then the other you can get a tax write-off on.
That's right. So where can our listeners find you and look at your videos and see your blogs and make use of your expertise?
Well, thank you for asking that. So it's on YouTube and podcast. It's called The Style That Binds Us. So YouTube channel and podcast. And then we have Instagram is at The Style That Binds Us. And then we have personal ones too. There's Alison Bruhn and Delia Folk. And then if you have any questions, of course, email thestylethatbindsus@gmail.com. And if you want to schedule a style session, these can be virtual with moms. So that would be Alison at thestylethatbindsus.com. If you still have some questions or want a little bit more help, we have a style playlist on the Style That Binds Us YouTube channel. So we have over 30 videos where we go through, how to wear a moto jacket, closet edit, all of that. But if you want a more personalized approach, she is always available.
Wow, you guys have figured it out. That is wonderful. I really appreciate being able to talk to you two today about bringing some joy into our lives now, and the sense of I'm just playing is so beautiful and so desperately needed. We all need to feel like we're doing a little bit of play so we can get through some of these really dark times.
Right.
Oh, gosh, I know. And we also have a website that I forgot to say, thestylethatbindsus.com. Yes, I know. Every day we get up, we try to stay positive. What I am telling myself is life is short. Even if we are sitting in our apartment alone, or if you're in an apartment with 5 children and a wife, or whatever it is, today is a day in your life. How can you make it a nice day and the best day that it can possibly be with this situation? Because all we can do is be positive. Try.
That is true.
Easier said than done.
Yes, and I agree with you. So thank you so much, ladies. It was so fun. I actually have this big piece of cardboard that I was using for a presentation, never got used. So I think I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start cutting out pictures and
Do you have
and just having a little fun.
Well, send us a photo of it, and we'll put it on our Instagram stories.
I love it.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time, and best of luck getting through this really complicated and difficult time. And it was a real pleasure.
Thank you. We really, really loved being with you.
It was fun to have two guests at the same time, especially mom and daughter. They're really able to bring their own styles and ideas about fashion and work together to help those of us who are a bit fashion challenged. They love what they do. You can really tell by their voices, and they seem to have a real appreciation of one another. I hope it was a fun interview for all of your moms out there on their special day. And I just wanted to make a note that as a psychotherapist, I really acknowledge that being a mother is a mixed bag, and Mother's Day can be bittersweet. So I wanted to say that, to recognize that for all of us who it hasn't been necessarily a walk on the beach with rainbows and unicorns. I have a book recommendation for people if they're interested. It's called The Dance of Motherhood by Harriet Lerner. It's an oldie but a goodie, and I love how she talks about the complex and sometimes really ambivalent relationship that mothers have with their children. But all that to say, I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day, however you celebrate it. Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends. I love to hear from my listeners. Send me an email at NicoleChristina.com. I know that everyone is feeling really stressed and anxious right now. We're all unsettled and feel out of control. So I created a free download for you for maintaining mental health based on my 30 years as a psychotherapist. Just go to zestfulaging.com and it is all yours. It's no secret that everyone's feeling pretty restless and unsettled right now. Our lives are upside down and the future is feeling pretty uncertain. But if you're anything like me, organizing my stuff can help me feel a little calmer. It's something I can do to help me feel a little more in control and in charge of my own life. If you think decluttering could help you feel better and you could use a little assistance with that, check out the online course I've developed with professional organizer and designer Carrie Luderin. It's called Too Much Stuff. And Too Much Stuff is different from other courses or articles or guidance you may have used. We give you clear steps to deal with the clutter and the tools to help you face the overwhelming feelings and the emotions that come up when we're going through our clutter. And a lot of those emotions are just feeling anxious or guilty or just basically flooded with a lot of different confusing feelings. The course is really practical, it's realistic, the lessons are short and punchy, and they're really manageable. We're not trying to set you up for some long, exploratory, super in-depth, burdensome experience. We want something really helpful for you right now. We all need help with our anxiety, so being surrounded by more calm and less chaos can really help. So now's a good time to clear out the clutter so we can focus on what's really important in our lives. So find out more at zestfulaging.com. You'll see more about this under the web courses tab. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at zestfulaging@gmail.com. Thanks so much. And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest.